Let's see how you work this thing. Check 1. Check 2. Hit the button.
Be about a goal of saying everybody should end up in the same place. And since we didn't start in the same place, some folks might need more. Equitable distribution.
Giving resources based on equity, understanding that we fight for equality, but we also need to fight for equity, understanding not everyone starts out at the same place.
So there's a big difference between equality and equity. Equality
is
suggests often everybody should get the same thing. Well, that often assumes everybody started out in the same place.
Where did everybody start out? They didn't start out in the same place? I don't understand.
As opposed to equity, which is everyone should end up in the same place.
Word salad. Word salad. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Marcus Conte reporting. How you doing, man? How are you? What a day. What a very, very, very interesting man this guy is, Tim Walz. Now, yesterday, it was announced at 9 a.m. during this program that Tim Walz would be the vice presidential pick for Kamala-holic, Kamala Harris. And I was ignorant to who the hell Tim Walz was because I stopped paying attention to the left, Young Turks, Bernie Sanders, tried and true crowd. Stopped paying attention to it many years ago because it proved to be ineffective in politics. They didn't have any effect. They were just yelling and screaming, and the front line of the Democratic Party, people like Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Joe Biden, and the rest, Manchin and fucking, all these guys were shutting down the progressive left, as it was once called. The progressive left, the progressives, the Young Turks, the Kyle Kalinskis of the world. All right, the people, the millions of people who showed up and yelled and screamed for Bernie Sanders, right? It turns out that this guy is almost Bernie, right? He's almost Bernie. Tim Walz, right? Respected Democrat governor from the great state of Minnesota. It turns out that he's just a Bernie clone, right? And not only is he a Bernie clone, but Tim Walz, in many respects, proves that what Bernie Sanders was trying to achieve is in fact achievable at a state level. That's what Tim Walz did. Free college for people making under $80,000 a year. He gave kids in schools free breakfast and lunch, right? Every school in Minnesota has free breakfast and lunch. Now, that's a great thing, right? If you're a hungry person or a kid, you know how appealing that is to go to school and have breakfast and lunch, right? For kids, right? Yeah, there's a burden on the economy for that. But you talk about if you want to bring kids back to college, what a great move, right? Decriminalize marijuana, check. And many other things. We'll look at a few of the other things. Tax breaks to, fucking people not making any money. So has he gone full throat after the corporate oligarchy like Bernie Sanders did? No. Right. Now, here's the caveat that I'll throw out there right away. Although almost Bernie, Tim Walz is a very progressive pick and is going to get, I got to tell you, he's going to get the progressives excited. He already did. They're already, if you look at the rally down in Pennsylvania, all of the fucking Bernie Sanders young crowd, rah, 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 they're all there. They all showed up. Not for Kamala Harris, but for almost Bernie. That's why they're there. So in a nutshell, was Tim Walz good for the party? Forget about good for the country. Forget about right on policy. I'm saying, is he good for the party? Is he in line with the left side of the party, right? Yes, he is. And is there a lot of people in that left side of the party who walked away from the Democrats many years ago because they didn't trust them anymore? Yes. That's 30% maybe of the country. This is everybody under 30 years old. right? Well, was under 30 years old, at least during the Bernie Sanders revolution. So as opposed to Josh Shapiro, who's a Jew, who's pro-Israel, anti-Hamas, the biggest rift in the Democratic Party appears to be, from an outside perspective, appears to be the rift in Israel, that Israel has a blank check to bomb and kill Hamas. And the lefties don't like that. They see it as genocide. They're the ones yelling and screaming about it. So if you put Josh Shapiro on that ticket, you would have had a losing ticket. But almost Bernie, he doesn't say anything about that. He's about giving, fucking free stuff to kids. All right, free stuff. We're going to hear that one. Good. Real Girl says if they call him Almost Bernie, that's my line. Almost Bernie. I'm calling him for the first time. Almost. He is Almost Bernie. He looks like him. He's just. He's 23 years younger. He's 60 years old. Almost Bernie. And Kamala-holic. Right now, here's the caveat that I didn't get to. Right. The Kamala Harris is still a protege of Joe Biden. She has flipped and flopped on every single issue there is, right? When it's convenient for her to flip, right? So she has been pro-Biden and all his hysteria for the last 4 years. And now all of a sudden the party is moving away from that. So what does she do? She flips to the progressive left and caters to them by giving them Almost Bernie, right? Does the vice president, Almost Bernie, is he going to have any power as Almost Bernie vice president? No, he's going to fucking be a mule like every other vice president. But he brings in the crowd, and he raises what? He raises the Obama hope. Tim Walz restores hope to the Democratic Party, the young people who thought it was over, that there'll never be these progressive policies in America. So you see where I'm coming from with this. Just looking at some of the reception that Tim Walz got upon this announcement, and then a little investigation into who he is and what he stands for, it does turn out that the progressives are very, very happy. Young people are going to come back to the Democratic Party. Because of Walz. Now, this should really, really panic Trump and Vance. Right? This is a fucking shot to the bow. Right? This is a giant fucking cannonball hitting the side of your ship, and you better plug it up quick, Trump, because you're bleeding. Right? You're leaking. This guy's that's who I that's who I see. Weevil Girl says Vance and. J.D. Vance and Camilla speaking in Wisconsin today. Interesting. They're all over the Midwest now. They're like ants coming around. So my name is Marcus Conte. We're going to talk about this subject and probably others today. 9 a.m. every morning, 9 a.m. right here on YouTube. 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the great United States of America. While we're still standing before this election. You see, world? Look at how America comes together right at the end, right? The Democrats, without casting a single vote for any of these characters, they got their candidate, right? They got supremely picked. They got the supreme candidates, right? The behind the scenes guys picked the candidate for you, right? And that's what you get. On the other side, you've got runaway train Trump. Who has defied every possible fucking barrier, right? Smears, assassination attacks, fucking jailed almost. That's who we got right now. So I think a lot of the Trump is a threat to democracy is going to start falling away. Democrats are just going to say, oh, those Republicans, don't listen to them. They're just weird. They're no threat. They're just weird. That's what they're saying. They're running the weird line. They're weird. I don't know. They're weird. They're weirdos. Yeah. Weirdo. I've been called weirdo many times in my life. I think that's a good thing. I'm a fucking weirdo. Hey, you fucking weirdo. I'm called asshole a lot too, man. I can't count how many times in walking around in New York City doing reports that I've been called an asshole. Hey, you fucking asshole! Hey, fucking asshole! Get out of my way, fucking asshole! So for Trump and Vance to be called weird isn't really much. So yeah, we'll do that. Let's start with the polls because it's really not about my opinion or your opinion per se, but it's about America's opinion, the sum total. And here's a poll from August 6th. That was Tuesday. Yesterday, look at the fucking shift. Oh my God! Look at this. Harris up by 4 in the general. When you tally in Kennedy, Stein, West, it has no effect. Harris still up by 3. What did I say, 4? Harris up by 3. In New York, Harris by 14. That's expected. What else we got? What else? As of Monday there was a poll. Harris was up by 1. Harris by 3. Harris by 3. All the way back to Sunday, Harris by 1. Harris by 2. Trump is there. That's it. You see the shift. Now, this is a honeymoon bump. They're going to get another bump because the Democratic convention is, I guess, in a week or two, right? 2 weeks? Next week? 2 weeks? Right? They're going to go through that, and they're going to get a big bump. And the whole country is now going to know. All the young people are now going to know who Tim Walz is, right? It's like a revival. I'm telling you, it's going to have this guy, Tim Walz, is big in the party. And the Democrats are stupid. They're going to fall for it. The young people are going to fall for it. They're going to think, oh, yeah, we got all our progressive dreams coming down the pipe again. Right? No. Kamala Harris is not going to. Kamala Harris is a corporate stooge. Right? She goes with whatever works. Right? Tim Walz, Tim Walz, got used to his name. Tim Walz is a patsy. He's the throwaway. Yeah, the country is leaning far left, and 70% of Americans like what Tim Walz is saying. So, but corporate America and the donor class fucking hate him. So Kamala Harris cuts that deal in the back room. Don't worry about anything. When I'm president, we'll take care of it. Let's just get elected first, right? And that's what she does. They're using Tim Walz to rally the base, the base gone by, right? The old base, right? And then when they win, Tim Walz will sit in his fucking VP mansion and shut the fuck up. Right? That's probably what will happen. So that's the polls. This is a side note. This is, I guess, breaking news. Look at this. You remember, you ever think about, this is a mysterious time, right? And we think we know everything. But we don't even know. There's pyramids in Egypt, right? They're fucking giant, stone structures that only a human could have built. Because it's built in the, with hands and such, right? Nothing else on earth can build something like that. It's not by chance. And nobody knows how the fuck they did it. Right? Did they drag the rocks thousands of miles with slaves? It turns out now there's a new theory. No one knows conclusively how they built the pyramids. But now they're saying that they discovered water ducts, right? Ways to not fill up the whole fucking desert with water, right? That would be, ignorant to think. But they had ways of, as long as they can get water flowing in, they use hydraulic lifts to lift the stones up. Now you say, well, that's fucking complicated. How do they build the pipes? I don't know. But here's a theory. So the long held theory that that UFOs may have placed the pyramids on Earth, or millions of slaves dragged rocks for thousands of miles across the desert from the ocean and placed them one at a time and then walked back and got another one. That one seems to be frivolous as well. But the hydraulic lift system is impressive. It seems like it's been, well thought out. So there you go. We'll keep following this. So history is being rewritten as we speak. the Egyptian pyramids were not, in fact, planted by UFOs and or built by millions of slaves, but instead a technology that we no longer have and or use, at least, hydraulic lifts. Fascinating. Right? So also in breaking news, this is the advocacy for legalized marijuana has been raging in America for quite a while. What is a controlled substance? Why are substances controlled? And why should some be illegal and some not illegal? And it's long been known that cannabis doesn't really fit the protocol of many of these drugs like heroin or, refined products like heroin or cocaine or ketamine or any of these substances. So it looks like Joe Biden, in his final days of presidency, his final months of presidencies, is going left wild. And they're about to remove marijuana from the Schedule 1 drug that it's classified as to Schedule 3, which means it's not legal, but it's not criminal like it used to be. It's not like getting caught with a bag of heroin, right, or pushing heroin on somebody, right? It's just a dispensary. Where people smoke because it gives them relief from pain, to languish, right? Whatever people smoke for whatever reason, to make them happiness, as the gurus in India say. What is marijuana? Ganja is happiness. But here's Joe Biden. They're doing it. They are actually doing this. This is real. Joe Biden. The markets are reacting. Joe Biden about to remove marijuana from the Schedule 1 classification. Listen.
Monumental. Today, my administration took a major step to reclassify marijuana from a Schedule 1 drug to a Schedule 3 drug. It's an important move toward reversing long-standing inequities. Today's announcement builds on the work we've already done to
See how they slice Joe Biden together? He can't even give a speech on this. They gotta edit the best parts of it and sew it together for you.
Pardon a record number of federal offenses for simple possession of marijuana. And it adds to the action we've taken to lift barriers to housing, employment, small business loans, and so much more for tens of thousands of Americans. Look, folks, no one should be in jail merely for using or possessing marijuana, period. Far too many lives have been upended because of failed approach to marijuana. And I'm committed to righting those wrongs.
You're committed to righting those wrongs. Why didn't you do it when you knew about it and people were telling you about it 4 years ago? Why did you wait to get out the door? Because the fucking donor class doesn't like it, or somebody, or you personally? That's probably the reason. Joe Biden's an old fogey. Joe Biden, my son Bo, he died of drugs. Hunter, he can't stop sniffing that shit. So this is I'm telling you, everything it's changing very, very quickly, and the Democrats are surging in all their ridiculous policies now that they've got Biden out of the way. Kamala Harris is just letting, I'm telling you, Tim fucking Walz. Tim Walz, watch. And so more on this marijuana. Pot stocks surge as Biden reschedules marijuana. It's going to happen. This was announced months ago, May 16th, but it takes a month or two, for whatever reason, for the government to fucking do it. Right? So that's about to happen. That's a big deal. Now, no longer is marijuana, can you be arrested for having marijuana in your system, unless, of course, you're impaired, right? Driving, I'm talking about. There's no longer DUI. DUI for marijuana was only because it was a Schedule 1 drug. So the laws are changing. I don't know what you believe in that. I think it's I think it's a good thing. I think the country benefits. I see legalized medical marijuana across Pennsylvania, and I don't see any problems. I don't see any abuse. I don't see people hanging around the dispensary all high and drunk and breaking shit. It's like going to CVS, right? You feel like it's like that. Oh, that's the pharmacy over there. So I think that's where the country's going. So let's talk about Governor Walz. All the policies, the two policies I just talked about are front and center for Kamala Harris and Governor Walz, who legalized marijuana in the state of Minnesota.
We're a little bit creeped out, but we're not afraid.
It's not about her or her opponent, really.
Here's the weird comment.
It's no matter what kind of weird stuff they keep saying.
Donald Trump has been resorting to some wild lies about my record, and some of what he and his running mate are saying, well, it's just plain weird.
The new talking point, weird.
Weird.
Which seems to have been started, at least as far as I can tell, by Minnesota Governor Tim Walz.
Tim Walz, is that the reason? Is that the reason Tim Walz got thrown to the forefront, because he called Trump weird?
Is on Kamala Harris's short list to be her vice president. After he called Donald Trump and J.D. Vance weird, he seemed to set off something of a trend among national
Sid Kuda says, "That's awesome, Joe. I'm still voting for Trump."
Democrats. Walz, if you do not know, is a veteran, a gun owner, and a former public school teacher with close ties to organized labor, and he joins us now. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Governor, thanks so much for joining us.
Almost Bernie.
Mr. Trump and Mr. Vance were in your home state last night. Democratic-funded polling I saw earlier this month showed Minnesota, which has not gone for a Republican president since Nixon, within half a percentage point if Biden was the nominee. Mm-hmm. Now Harris is a nominee, and a new Fox poll shows Harris is leading Donald Trump in Minnesota by 6 points. Why do you
fucking crazy, right? Surging in the polls.
think she's so much more competitive in Minnesota than Joe Biden was?
Well, look, good morning, Jake. Thanks for having me. Look, there's a burst of energy out here. Joe Biden, we've heard it, he delivered across the board on so many issues, but there's a new burst of energy. I was at a labor rally yesterday, and
a new burst of energy. Is that an exaggeration? No, I see it. I think it's a new burst of energy coming out of the Democratic Party. It's real. Right? It's real. You can't brush it off. It's very real.
I've not seen anything like this for 15 years. And
I haven't seen anything like it since the Bernie Sanders thing, right? Really. It's only a day or two, but it's going to start to pick up. Watch. During and after the convention.
What you saw out in St. Cloud yesterday with Donald Trump and J.D. Vance is the same old nonsense, just talking points and denigrating folks. And I think she's more boosted because she's bringing a positive vision. Look, we care about what happens to your kids. We care about the environment. We care about job creation. So it's just a whole new vibe to the campaign.
Kamala Harris is still mostly a loser, mostly an order taker. Does she have the ability to lead? I don't know. I don't think so. I think anybody could lead, but I don't think her vision is there. Right. That's hence the reason why you bring in a heavy hitter like Tim Walz.
And I think these guys, there isn't going to be a pivot because they don't have any new plans. So this is what you're going to see. Mm-hmm. I think Minnesota always competitive, but we're certainly going to win.
So you've gotten some attention this week for calling Trump and Vance and Republicans.
Okay, so he called Trump and Vance weird. That's not the best one. Here's a little more about who this guy is. All right? Don't listen to me. Let's listen to the report on who Tim Walz is. They put together all his achievements, I guess. Let's listen.
Election night 2022. Governor Tim Walz could not contain his exuberance over winning a second term, moving past turbulent times of a global pandemic and civil unrest.
Democracy is live and well in this state. Well done.
Walz grew up in a small town in northern Nebraska, where at the age of 17, he joined the Army National Guard. He served in the Guard 24 years. 24 years in the National Guard. He served his country for 24 years. Never went into combat, but whatever. He did it 24 years. All while embarking on a teaching career that in 1996 brought him to Minnesota, where he met his future wife and fellow teacher Gwen. There's his family, fatties. Got fat kids, man. Put your kid on a diet. School teacher. National Guard. He was still teaching geography and coaching football. Oh man, they're in trouble. The Republicans are in trouble. They got a coach. Hey, coach. Mankato West in 2006 when he ran for Congress in southern Minnesota's Republican-leaning 1st District.
Once in a generation, we have the ability to do something about it.
He unseated longtime incumbent Gil Goodneck and went on to spend 12 years in Congress.
12 years in Congress. 12 years in Congress. That's a long time, right? He was a congressman for 12 years under Nancy Pelosi.
In 2018, Walz launched his bid for governor on the theme of One Minnesota and made history by picking State Rep Peggy Flanagan, a member of the White Earth Ojibwe Nation, as his running mate.
The governor-elect, Tim Walz.
He defeated Hennepin County Commissioner Jeff Johnson that November.
Right, so he's a winner. He's a winner. He's a winner in Minnesota. Right? He was kind of like a nobody and became a winner. Right? He knows how to win.
One Minnesota, better together.
The governor, First Lady Gwen Walz, and their children Gus and Hope moved to St. Paul, where Walz set about
He has a kid named Hope.
leading the charge
Hope!
for historic spending increases on schools, child care, and housing.
I'm going to extend today the stay-at-home order until May 4th.
Here's where he fails, right? He extended stay-at-home orders. He pushed vaccines on people. This is this is, for me, this would be a deal breaker right here. This would be definitely a deal breaker. The guy was adamant about locking people down and sticking people in the arm when they didn't want to be stuck. All right, so here he is taking his injection. Fuck you. Take your own injection.
In the COVID pandemic, he aggressively pursued testing and vaccines, but took heat from Republicans.
Aggressively pursued testing and vaccines. Right? Stay at home.
His stay-at-home order.
This is a smear. This will be. This should be a rally point for the Trumps. Right? Talk about this. That he directing Minnesota to stay at home. Get your vaccine. COVID.
Orders and
Turned out to be all bullshit.
closing schools and businesses.
That's a greater risk.
And in the unrest after George Floyd's murder, Walz
And the George Floyd murders all happened in Minnesota, mind you, right? All of the breaking and smashing that happened in our country, right, over George Floyd, it stemmed out of Minnesota. So that's another thorn in Tim Walz's side. Now, again, the left doesn't see it that way. You got to remember that the left sees the George Floyd rallies and riots as a good thing, as the pro-Palestinian riots as a good thing. They see it as a way of voicing one's opinion. In the same breath, they look at January 6th as some sort of insane, weird insurrection taking over of the government, right? So they're fucking stupid in that respect. But whether you look at the point is whether you look at these images and say, well, Tim Walz is intimately connected with the problems that Minnesota had during the George Floyd riots. His side of the party doesn't see that. It's his people doing it, mind you. It's the Antifa, Bernie Sanders, tried and true. Those are the people, the left, defects are doing it. Right? So they don't see any of this as a problem. Right? They don't see it as a problem. They see it as there he was. He was out there and he helped us burn the fucking cities and get everybody's attention. And look, now we're winning.
Walz drew criticism for delays activating the National Guard.
Does force going in there escalate it?
He won re-election in 2022, defeating Dr. Scott Jensen, and worked with the DFL-controlled legislature to sign a host of bills, strengthening abortion rights, tightening gun control, banning...
He's big on abortion rights. He's a gun owner who... They want to ban assault weapons. That's what they're going to do. They're going to try to ban assault weapons, no doubt.
Conversion therapy, restoring voting rights to felons, legalizing cannabis, and providing universal free school meals.
Universal free school meals. I love that. I think that is such a great idea. That is really a great idea. There's no better way to spend money than feeding kids. Right? If you believe in youth, if you believe in the young people, why not make the fucking, public schools like a resort where they want to go and they want to be there. And man, the lunch was so good today, Mommy. It's a great idea. Right, so that's who he is. Here they are on stage.
Tim Walz is getting an enthusiastic welcome, but you heard the welcome that Shapiro had. Governor Shapiro is an incredibly popular figure in the state of Minnesota. His approval rating well over 60%. And if Kamala Harris ultimately ends up losing Pennsylvania, there will be a lot of second guessing of this pick. So we'll see how Tim Walz is received by a crowd.
Man.
Hold on. This campaign, our campaign, is not.
Look at the crowd. Look at the fucking crowd. That's what you got to look at here. Look at this. Watch when the camera swings. This is real. This is real happening. This is happening at Temple University yesterday after the announcement. Where did all these people come from?
Have to see if that's something that we hear in this speech tonight.
This is a Democratic convention? What? I'm telling you, the Democrats haven't seen this kind of excitement for a while. I'm telling you, Trump better watch out, man. The circus atmosphere of a Trump rally can't compete with this, in my view.
Reminding our viewers as well that Selena Wang has reporting that really he's never spoken from a teleprompter before. And look at this crowd. This is a packed house there at Temple University.
Packed house, Temple University, Temple Stadium capacity. How many people fit? 20,000. Now, this is the outside one. There's no way that they would do this outside after Trump got shot. Temple Stadium, 32 acres. Well, there's a football field there. I don't know if anybody knows how many people fit in that fucking stadium. Let me know. But it looks more like a 20,000. It looks more like a Madison Square Garden.
And this is the moment in which he was really introducing himself to the American people. Again, noting here from an Ipsos ABC News poll that nearly 9 in 10 U.S. adults didn't really know enough about him to have an.
And let me just say, it's good to be here with all of the friends, all of the leaders who are
Thank you. I just had a nice cocktail, and I'm so happy to be here.
I want to thank former Governor Ed Rendell, Senator Bob Casey, who we will re-elect this November.
As Philly Camden says, 10,000 fit in that place? Okay, I agree. I think it's a little more than that. I'd put it between 10 and 20. It looks like a big stadium.
Senator John Fetterman, Mayor Sherelle Parker, as I do in the extreme.
I just want to see the ABC did a great job panning the audience. There it is. Watch. We're not going back. Look at the crowd. Look at the crowd. Yeah, all right, I'll take that back. It's smaller than a hockey arena, so it's probably closer to 10,000, 10 to 15,000.
We're not going back. And so let me say about Tim Walz, he has shown up to stand against these attacks long before he stood on the stage with me.
Let's hear him. Here's Tim.
Don't ever underestimate teachers. And our two beautiful kids, Hope and Gus.
David Brown says the Republicans want the children's lunch money sent to Israel. You know how hard that's going to be to fight back? How are you going to yell at a guy and say you're giving free lunch to kids? How fucking crazy are you? What kind of capitalist are you? That's a bad. How do you attack a guy who gave kids free lunch and free breakfast and lunch in schools? That's a tough one.
I couldn't be prouder to be on this ticket and to help Vice President Harris become what we all know is very, very good for us to think about. Next President of the United States of America.
He's almost Bernie. He's not quite as I say that figuratively though, but he's the rubber stamp Bernie, right? He's like Andy Warhol. He, instead of making one picture, he makes 25 of them using a mole, like a print. He's a print of Bernie, right? He's a print, right? He's not the actual painting Bernie. He's a print of Bernie.
From her first day as a prosecutor, as a district attorney, Attorney General of the great state of California, a United States Senator, and Vice President of the United States. Now as governor of the great state of Minnesota, first of all, he doesn't know.
Hi, my name is Melissa. I'm an alumni from Avenues in Concord.
Oh, really?
I've never been in treatment before, so I had no expectation.
Know the first thing about service.
So that's a little taste of who the guy is. Let's listen to how the left is spinning it. If you don't believe me, now you're going to hear from, here's Kyle Kulinski, Secular Talk, 302,000 views and climbing. Listen to what Kyle Kulinski, huge audience, is saying on the left.
To bring to you, it is now official. Kamala Harris has picked Tim Walz to be her running mate. Guys, this is literally the best possible pick she could have made. Look, I'll go as far as to say...
There you go. This is the best possible pick she could have made.
Look, I'll go as far as to say this is an even better pick than if she randomly chose Bernie Sanders.
It's even better than Bernie Sanders himself. He's almost Bernie.
So I got to break this down for you. So there's been a lot of chatter back and forth. Is it going to be Shapiro or is it going to be Walz? They narrowed it down to those last two. Of course, it was a nail-biter of a situation because Shapiro, in the eyes of the left, is like the worst possible pick. And Walz is like the best possible pick. And I'm holding my breath. I'm looking at all the, the evidence that's coming out. There were some black SUVs at Tim Walz's house last night, and that was an indication.
You gotta, when you listen to this, remember who's speaking, right? This is Kyle Kulinski. He was involved in Justice Democrats. He was intimately involved in getting AOC elected. Him and Cenk Uygur, and they turned away from the Bernie Sanders people years ago. They thought it was over. He's going to tell you in his own words. They thought the whole thing was over until now. Right? Now it's like it's all coming back. And the point is that they're excited. When the progressive left, for lack of a better term, they should come up with a new fucking name. Right? When this part of the Democratic Party gets excited, they command the young people, the young crowd, the people who get out and knock on doors and go crazy trying to get their candidate elected, which Joe Biden didn't have. But now Kamala Harris will have it because Mr. fucking Hope and Change is standing behind her. Can Mr. Hope and Change get anything done as vice president? Who knows? Probably not. But that doesn't matter. The object is to win. Right?
Like, hey, maybe it's him because this is what happened with J.D. Vance before he was picked. But it turned out it was just security for, a fundraiser he was going to for Kamala that night. So, okay, that was a little bit of a false alarm. Yesterday, Walz surged in the VP odds in the predicted market to like 60%. Before he was down at like 40%. So that was another, little indication. Hey, are these insiders who are betting on this who know, or are these people who are outsiders? Well, the reporting this morning was that she actually hadn't made a decision yet. She wanted to sleep on it last night. She wakes up this morning.
Yeah.
Then here's the big piece where I thought, oh my God, it's time to pound the gavel. This morning, there was a whole fleet of black SUVs in Tim Walz's driveway. And I mean a lot. Here's the bottom line.
Okay.
And we've been talking about his record way longer than anybody else. I want to note that for the record. You guys know this if you've been watching this show a long time. So he's the governor of Minnesota with a one-seat majority. Tim Walz got us universal free school meals, both breakfast and lunch, legal weed, carbon-free electricity by 2040, tax rebates for the working class up to $1,300 if you make under $150,000 a year, 12 weeks paid family leave, 12 weeks paid sick leave. He banned gay conversion therapy. He did red flag laws for guns, universal background checks for guns, automatic voter registration, free public college if you make under $80,000 a year. He banned the PFAS, the forever chemicals. He did a $2.2 billion increase in K-12 school funding. And he did sectoral bargaining for nursing home workers. And by the way, this is just a little piece of his, like, I only gave you maybe like 50 or 60%.
Kyle Kalinski's a good guy to watch because he follows all of the policies of each one of these guys. And you see that list that he just rattled off. Those are all the progressive, wish list. And it's not, see, the thing about Tim Walz is that it's not a theory. He actually did it in Minnesota, right? He did these things in Minnesota. All right, so now, he's going to, once people realize it, what he did, right, he's going to become extremely popular in that pocket of Democratic voters. Look at me, for example. Yesterday, I had no idea who the fucking guy was. And now, looking at who he is, I understand that he's an excellent pick for the Democrats.
Of his agenda and the stuff he got through. He is by far the most based Democratic governor in the country, and it's not even close. There are some others that did some good things, like Tony Evers, and the Connecticut governor did some good things too, like trying to eliminate medical debt, but he is by far the most based Democratic governor. And beyond that, he's the most likable man on the planet. Every time he does an interview, you walk away going, that's the sweetest Midwestern dad I've ever seen in my life, and I know he's looking out for me. So without a doubt, the best choice. Now with Josh Shapiro, look, the red flag.
Oh, fuck Josh Shapiro. What is Potato Head saying? Let's listen to Mrs. Potato Head.
We got him. But for the first time in a good way. Up goes Tim Walz. Up goes Tim Walz.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Kamala Harris just picked Tim Walz to be her vice presidential candidate. That is unbelievable. I literally cannot believe it. So,
wow.
Look, guys, there's so many things to tell you about here, but first thing I got to tell you is I think she's going to win.
Yes.
Holy cow, I think she's going to win.
Now, that is a very, very, 180-degree turnaround. You've got guys like Cenk Uygur saying, we think we can win. She's going to win because of Tim Walz. Is he just puffing the pipe, or are there valid, is there any validity to that assumption that Tim Walz helps Kamala Harris win? I think there is. We'll look at the counter to that in a second. I got JD Vance queued up.
This is an amazing pick. So I'll get to why I wanted Josh Shapiro in a minute. And how thrilled I am that I was wrong. So you don't often hear talk show hosts saying that. But you're going to hear me say that a couple of times here today.
Get to the point, Cenk.
But so, number one, why do I think she's going to win with Tim Walz?
Why?
And why do I think he's such a good pick? So I'm going to explain that. But first, remember, guys, we're always live Monday through Friday.
All right, so we're not going to listen to any of his bullshit. Let's listen to, now, again, So Cenk Uygur and guys like Kyle Kalinske and that faction of the Democratic Party, the talking heads in that party, pretty much fucking hate Nancy Pelosi and people like that, and totally disagreed with them on every single candidate since 2016. But now, look at this. When have you seen the Democratic Party in its entirety coalesce behind the candidate, Tim Walz? I've never seen there hasn't been a candidate where everybody came together to support in a long time. Now, Nancy Pelosi is obviously, let's make no mistake about it, in the presidential race, the top of the ticket, the president fucking matters. The vice president doesn't matter much, right? So you use the vice president to ride in the dark horse, no pun intended, the actual dark horse in this one, Kamala Harris. But there's Nancy Pelosi, all teeth and smiles over Tim Walz pick.
First reaction to the choice of Tim Walz as Kamala Harris's running mate.
Good morning. Wonderful to be with you all. Tim Walz is wonderful. And she had many good choices among the 6 and certainly among the 2. I'm a big fan of Governor Shapiro.
Josh Shapiro's name will be forgotten about. In a week from now, you won't even know who the fuck he is anymore. He's going to fall like a rock. And if Kamala Harris loses, then she's gone as well. These people, see, this is Hopi change right here, right? If Kamala Harris gets in, right, and they start to implement these far left ideas that the vast majority of young people in America believe in. And if you don't believe that, just go to the college campuses and you'll see it. And they're right about most things. De-escalate violence by police officers. Stop bombing fucking Gaza. It's genocide. The young people are right on a lot of things. The way they carry on is another issue. But for the most part, they're right on the issues. And here's Nancy Pelosi agreeing with Tim Walz. Here we go.
Walz, I know very well. He served in the House. To characterize him as left is so unreal. It's just not what the question. He's right down the middle.
He's not right down the middle. He's middle left. He's not far left, but he's in the middle somewhere.
He's a Heartland of America Democrat. And he was the chair of our Veterans Affairs Committee. And I don't want anybody to forget that, because he made tremendous, tremendous gains for our veterans, working with our folks on the Appropriations Committee and with the Speaker.
So he's big on veterans. He's gotten stellar reviews as a congressman, right? They like him.
We made more progress than had ever been made in the history.
How come you didn't? Bernie Sanders had all these policies 8 years ago. How come you didn't go with it? Oh, well, it was a different time, and the corporate elite, they weren't going to give us the money, and so we had to go with Hillary and
of our country since the GI Bill under his leadership.
It's a changing of the guards. That's what you're seeing right now. You're seeing in the Democratic Party a cosmic shift, and it all happened within, 2 or 3 weeks. Right? A few weeks ago, the Democrats looked doomed. They looked like they were doomed to lose with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris sinking in the fucking Dead Sea. And now, all of a sudden, they switched. Biden is over there legalizing weed in the fucking White House, and Kamala Harris is picking the most, the lefty left of the left as her running mate. It's a totally different game now.
25 years in the National Guard, longest serving non-commissioned officer ever served in the Congress of the United States. So he brings the security credential, he brings the rural credential, and he will do well in rural America. And I heard Joe say, well, Biden did better. Well,
Shapiro, people are saying in the chat, Shapiro got canned because of his stance on Israel. It would have been very hard for Kamala Harris to say, to rally the left around Josh Shapiro, who's not willing to acknowledge that what the Israelis are doing in Gaza is genocide, killing off the Palestinian people and kicking them out of their fucking own country. Josh Shapiro is not willing to like a typical Jew. He's not willing to admit that that's. And but Walz and Harris, they're okay with it.
Biden was running against Donald Trump. Joe Biden. Tim Walz was running against somebody who had more credentials in rural America, but he still won. So I really, it's mystifying to me to see someone that I worked with, shall we say, right down the middle, characterized on the left in this regard.
So there's Nancy Pelosi trying to spin it. What about the other side? Let's look at the markets first. Ding, we're open. And we're off running. We're running. NASDAQ up. Everything's up. Up. NASDAQ is up 336 after red yesterday. And it's coming back strong. Trump stock down 35 cents. Is the Trump trade over? Is the Trump DJT over at $26.78? Is it going to keep going down? Is this stock right here is intimately tied with Trump's possibility of winning the election. It has to do with Truth Social as one of its products. If Trump loses, it's over. Right? That stock will go to zero, and Trump's political career will basically be ended. There'll be no reason for him to have a broadcasting system pumping out his ideas because nobody will care. He's just another celebrity, right? Ex-president, right? So the market seems to indicate that they're not really that they're now pricing in a possible Harris-Walz fucking presidency. Nvidia up 3.5, Google up 2.5, Apple up 4, Meta up 14, Microsoft up 8. Big day on Wall Street. Techs are surging. What do we got here? What do we got? Yeah, so yeah, it looks like everything's going up. It's going up. Here's the ETF. So it follows. NASDAQ up 300. Dow Jones Industrial Average up 3. So the markets are loving it, loving whatever's going on right now. Let's listen. Let's listen to, this is Hannity has J.D. Vance on the show. Let's listen.
The most liberal ticket in the history of this country. They are radical, they are extreme, and if their policies were ever implemented, I think they'd be downright dangerous. Anyway, here with his thoughts, Republican Vice President.
Their policies have been implemented, Hannity. Go to Minnesota and you'll see them. They're wildly popular policies that are being implemented, right? Because it's not Joe Biden's version of the left. It's true. This guy is almost Bernie Sanders. He believes in all of these policies that he's doing, and he got them done in Minnesota. The policies are not radical at all. They're things like universal health care is something that 70 upwards of 70% of America wants. Free college tuition at city universities. Most people think that that's normal. That should be the case, right?
Presidential nominee, Senator J.D. Vance. Senator, good to see you. I saw you in Pennsylvania today, and unlike
J.D. Vance looks nervous. I'm nervous. I don't like this guy.
Kamala Harris, you were actually willing to talk to the press. I got to give you props for that.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. What I think is, if you want to be the people's vice president or president, you actually ought to go before the journalists, even the hostile ones, and actually answer some questions.
Right. They're not going to do that. They're going to play softball all the way till the end. Right? Why are they going to even bother? Trump is backing out of one debate, demanding that Kamala Harris does the debate with Fox. So you may not even get a debate before the election. This is bizarre. No, there was no primaries, at least for the Democrats. No primary, no debate. It's just here's Camilla and here's her floozy. Here's the patsy, Tim Walz.
Donald Trump does it nearly every single day. Of course, I'm willing to do it, and it really should shame the media, Sean, that Kamala Harris, who is the most liberal presidential candidate that we've ever had in this country, refuses to answer basic questions about her record. Why did she support a ban on fracking? Why did she support defunding the police? Why does she want to ship American...
Hey, if you haven't voted already, go ahead and vote. Does Tim Walz help the Democratic ticket? Yes or no? After watching this, I'll end it in a second. I'll give you a chance to vote. Does Tim Walz help the Democratic ticket? Yes or no?
Manufacturing jobs to China. Why is she the border czar at a time of historic border crisis? The fact that the media is letting her coast without answering a single question is really disgraceful. And the fact that Kamala Harris is willing to have this thing handed to her without actually persuading the American voters is really scandalous and shows she should never be president.
The media has no shame. I declared in 2007 and 8 that journalism is dead. We talked about Tim Walz and his record as a joke, and that he also, Kamala Harris, bent the knee to the pro-Hamas wing of her party.
Did he bend his knee to the pro-Hamas wing of the party? She did, but so what?
Explain.
So what?
Well,
the pro-Hamas wing of the Democratic Party is the majority. Most people looking at the war in Israel will say Maybe not out loud, but they'll say what Israel's doing is fucked up.
Know that the people who were considered were Josh Shapiro, Mark Kelly, and this guy Tim Walz, and we know that Josh Shapiro in particular was attacked.
There's no line. The point is with Vance and Trump, there's really no line of attack so far with these guys. It's only a day. Let's see what kind of line of attack they can get going with JD Vance with Tim Walz. So there you go. Mark's Conte reporting. Tim Walz, vice presidential pick. I'll end the poll right here. And what is the result? 26 votes. 65% of the people watching the program say Tim Walz does not help the Democratic ticket. 34% say yes, he does. Yes, he does. Thank you for voting. And I will see you guys tomorrow. I think that it's a turning point for the Democrats. They're surging in the polls. There's your evidence. The arena was full. There's your evidence. There's screaming people and cheering. It's not fake. Right? Who's cheering and who shows up all of a sudden to cheer? Right? That is a organic, real fucking rising up of the Democratic Party. So they got their candidate. Will he be effective? Will any of Tim Walz's policies, if elected, get in front of the Democratic ticket? I would say probably not, but he's still there, and hope, right? They light up that hope, right? Kamala Harris shuts him up, and hope he change for the next time around. Right? I say we had to wait till 2028, and finally, right? This guy will run for president and probably win. Right? So there you go. Marcus Conte reporting.